Hi, so I'm Jon Bigg. Been working for British Athletics for the last 4 years, helping out on their endurance camps and also head coach at Phoenix Track Club.
Cool. Jon, what kind of training would you suggest, or kind of elements of training for a young 800 metre runner, say a 14-year-old, under 15s, starting to improve? What would you look at in terms of distances, volumes, quality over quantity?
I think with the young athletes, it's always really important to try and work out what type of athlete they are first. Generally, at that age group, you can get a lot of jumps forward by just tapping into mileage and volume, because I think their systems respond aerobically quite well. But if you've got an athlete that potentially can develop some very good anaerobic ability, some top end speed, then that also needs to be developed at that time as well to help build a robust individual going forward. In terms of mileage, again, I would look at it's a really fine thing. I think the most important bit is about having that long-term plan. If you don't have that long-term plan, and you're just going for some quick success, it's easy to overcook it. So, atypically, I build the guys at 14 up to maybe 20 miles in the winter time, 14, 15, when we're just introducing, the element, the idea that they're trying to formulate a week that might have 2 sessions in it, a slightly longer run at a weekend, and maybe another run in the week. That's roughly how we start, around 14. But the skill, definitely, the coach is working out what, applying what the individual needs, not necessarily going to a coaching manual and saying, all 14-year-old 800 metre 2-minute athletes need to do this to break 2 minutes. I think it's a little bit more sophisticated than that.
Makes sense. Good. Nice answer. What age, you've had a lot of athletes go on training camps, altitude training camps. What age would you suggest is kind of appropriate for young athletes to start venturing into training camps and altitude training?
Yeah, so training camps now form an amazing part of athletes, their general sort of progression lines. They have to be able to drop into a training camp and be confident, comfortable in these environments. So starting early is good. Going to altitude early, people are born at altitude, so I don't think I don't personally have any concerns over young people going to altitude, because I don't think
health-wise,
I don't have any issues with that. But I think it's more about the type of camp you're perhaps going to put a young person in needs to be thought about. I personally took Charlie Grice to Kenya when he was 17. I went with him. I wanted to have him to have an experience of what it was like in Kenya, what the type of athletes he was going to be competing against if he really wanted to shoot for being one of the top athletes in the world. And I think it was amazingly inspiring to him. We probably at that time didn't maximise the length of time that perhaps you would want to stay at altitude, because I didn't think he would have the capacity to be able to last that long, because again, it's a stress on the system. They get tired very quickly when they're young. So there's lots of things you need to consider if you're going to send a young person to altitude. But it's certainly something I think's good to start if you feel you've got an athlete to a point where they're robust enough to be able to manage it.
And they could always start with a short trip, like a weekend trip, or a warm weather is similar, right?
Exactly. Any camp. Just we used to do weekend camps as the guys were getting young, growing up, and just taking them away to the New Forest for 4 days. That makes them operate in a camp environment. Okay, those 4 days might have been a compressed week, really. So we would do more work in those 4 days, and they'd come off a bit tired. But they got the feeling that they were coming to a camp to train, not to come on holiday.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what the culture you're trying to create with people coming onto camps.
I like that idea. It sets it up well for a longer camp and the intensity, so that's good. And last question, this time of year it's always tricky for the 800 metre type of runner. You have a lot of very good international 800 metre runners. The ones that are preparing for indoors, what kind of sessions would they do right now? And then the others that are preparing longer term for the outdoor season, what are they working on right now?
Yeah, so I personally use the indoors really not as a focus, but just as a little bit of a break from the winter work that we do. I find that the true 800 metre types need that little bit of stimulus. halfway through the winter just to break it up a little bit. So I don't tend to, if it was the outdoor season, we'll do that final prep phase over about 6 weeks. Going into the indoors, it depending on their age group, is between 2 and 3 weeks really that I'm just prepping for them, and they're really running it off of the winter strength work they've done, with a little bit of some pace work just thrown in or turned on as you're getting closer to the indoor season.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jon.